Today on the CTV News at 5, influenza issues. Health officials urge flu shots before family get-togethers further spread the virus. Plus, home care questions. What may be cut from the budget and why some say it's unnecessary. And 12 days of giving, how community businesses responded to a challenge by the Chamber of Commerce.
CTV News with Riley Carlson.
Good evening. Thanks for being with us. Reported cases of influenza in the province have doubled in the past week, and health officials say if you haven't had your flu shot yet, now would be a good time to do so. Those numbers are expected to increase rapidly as family and friends get together over the holidays, and then they're expected to keep rising until the end of January. More than 350 cases have already been confirmed. Albertans 6 months of age and older can still get their flu immunization at no charge, but keep in mind it takes 2 weeks for the vaccine to become effective.
Local public health units, you can call and make an appointment. Secondly, there are still pharmacies and physician offices that are also providing influenza immunization. I think the good news about the influenza immunization is that all the isolates identified to date that have been looked at in a lab in Winnipeg match the vaccine strain, so that the components that are in the vaccine are the same components, the viruses that are circulating in Alberta.
And the flu isn't the only illness going around right now. Health officials say norovirus is also making the rounds with a number of outbreaks in schools and seniors' lodges. Regular hand washing is the best way to prevent the spread of norovirus, and that can also help prevent spreading the flu. Friends of Medicare says there are better ways to save money in health care than cutting home care for seniors and people with disabilities. NDP leader Brian Mason has released an Alberta Health Services document that details cuts to home care services in Edmonton. It includes reducing the amount of time home care providers spend with some seniors in order to keep costs within budget. Friends of Medicare spokesperson Shannon Phillips says the government is running around looking for year-end savings and shortchanging the most vulnerable people in the process.
The Alberta Healthcare Services memo indicates that the memo sent to staff that they do not have to communicate with the patient if they think the patient won't notice. And that to me is emblematic of a culture within Alberta Health Services that does not communicate with the public, that does not think that transparency is important, and that in fact wants to hide cutting back on essential health services.
Phillips says home care and long-term care need to be bolstered through strong public investment. Alberta Health Services says it's not reducing the level of care to clients, although in some cases they will reduce the amount of time that is spent with them. A 26-year-old man who is blind and wheelchair-bound has been moved out of the Lethbridge emergency shelter and placed in long-term care.
I'm asking for help from anybody right now.
In November, Philip Martel issued a plea for help, saying the homeless shelter is not equipped for somebody who needs 24-hour care. Martel needed help getting dressed and cutting his food. The former BC man says he was swindled out of his cash and home after moving to Lethbridge, but because he wasn't covered under Alberta Healthcare, it took almost a month to make long-term arrangements for him. He's now been moved to the St. Michael's Long-Term Care Centre. Dory Rossiter joins us now for a check on the forecast. And Dory, it's hard to believe Christmas is about a week away, but it's not really going to be a white Christmas for us.
Yeah, it might be kind of a flurry dusting the ground kind of Christmas, but it probably won't be enough to make a snowman. Just saying. We are looking at an area of high pressure moving back in after the light snow flurries that we had today. Some areas got a little light dusting of snow, but for the most part it was just scattered flurries. I'll have all the details coming up in a couple of minutes.
All right, thanks very much, Dory. Another warning from city officials about ice safety after firefighters rescued a woman and her dog stranded on the Old Man River near Pavan Park. Firefighters got into the ice and pulled the woman and her pet to safety on shore in a sled. Luckily, both were not injured. The Elk Valley father at the center of a child abduction case has made his first court appearance. Robert Barnett appeared in Cranbrook Court to face charges of abduction and theft. He was charged last month after his 3-year-old son Alvin disappeared during a supervised visit in Fernie. The case sparked Amber Alerts both in the United States and here in Canada, and the manhunt ended in Whitefish, Montana. Barnett has opted to be tried by judge and jury and will represent himself in court. Barnett also waived his right to a preliminary trial. He will be back before a judge January the 14th. And a sentencing hearing for a Lethbridge man who pleaded guilty to child pornography charges has been postponed until March. 27-year-old Patrick Brian Rickman was to be sentenced today, but instead he fired his lawyer so he could represent himself. The Crown also said they needed more time to consider an application for long-term offender designation. Rickman was charged after U of L security found child porn on a memory stick left at a campus computer lab in 2009. The case has been put over until March 1st. Today marked the conclusion of a public inquiry into the drowning death of a 5-year-old at the Ramada Inn Water Park. During the summary, counsel for the Ramada stated that the hotel had undergone a number of improvements since the 2010 drowning of Maddox Yellow Wings, including all of the recommendations made by Alberta Health to assign more lifeguards on duty, improve the water park signage, and ensure parents are aware children under the age of 6 are to be within an arm's reach at all times. During the inquiry, a police officer testified that Maddox's father had told him he could not swim and was not wearing a life jacket. Maddox had been attending his brother's birthday party at the pool when 8 of his adult family members lost sight of him while they were gathered in the hot tub. Several minutes later, his grandmother found the boy at the bottom of the Kitty Wave pool. The judge today told counsel he'll take the matter to review to determine if lack of parental or hotel supervision may have played a part in the child's drowning. Begunny Band Council took steps today to have Chief Gail Strikes with a gun removed from her office. The council says a petition to remove the elected chief was being submitted today to the band CEO. The council is considering a motion to have Strikes with a gun suspended indefinitely. She has already been suspended twice by other members of council. She refused an ultimatum to resign voluntarily and contends council has no authority to remove her from office. Canadian Airlines now have to show the total cost of airfares when they advertise that or face a fine. Today, the federal government announced the 1-year grace period has come to an end. The idea is to make sure customers will know the price of an airline ticket, including taxes, fees, and other charges. Airfare advertisers who don't comply can be fined up to $25,000. Plans for a food retailer to take over the Giant Tiger store in Lethbridge may be good for the community, but it may not help employees who are losing their jobs. The Giant Tiger will be closing at the end of this week. Most of the stock has already been sold or moved out. Food retailer Loblaws will be taking over the space occupied by the store in Lethbridge, and it will be turned into a no-frills grocery store. Still, staff say they're not aware of any employees being contacted by Loblaws or offered jobs at that store. Local management declined to comment. There may only be 7 days left until Christmas, but for the Lethbridge Chamber of Commerce, today marked the 12th day of donations. Non-perishable food items, toys, and games were gathered beneath the City Hall Christmas tree. The Chamber of Commerce put out a request to over 750 local businesses to get involved with the 12 days of Christmas. The challenge was to gather as many donations from businesses as possible by the 12th day and deliver them to City Hall. All items will be going to the Lethbridge Food Bank.
The Chamber thought it would be nice for the business community to become involved in what the city's been doing. They're doing a really good thing for the community, and I think that the business community would like to participate in a meaningful way as well.
Even though the deadline was today, the city will continue to collect non-perishable food and toys into the new year so the entire community can get involved. Staff and students at Galbraith Elementary School got a hot holiday lunch today as a thank you from the parents. The Parent Council was serving up helpings of turkey, mashed potato, gravy, and vegetables at their 3rd annual holiday dinner. The hot lunch is supported by several local businesses through donations of food and volunteers. More than 435 meals were provided. Students also had a chance to win door prizes.
Well, I think the kids work so hard every day in their academics that to break it up and just have a time where they can socially gather and enjoy a meal together, it really does build that community that's so essential in a child to make them have a place where they belong. They feel safe, they feel part of a family.
Yeah, I think it's a really nice time to enjoy a lunch together as a classroom.
Donations from local businesses covered 80% of the cost of the lunch. The Parent Council Society raised the rest. The Alberta Wheat Commission is a new producer-funded and directed organization set up to represent the interests of Alberta wheat producers. One of the goals is to help farmers become more productive and more profitable. We have more in tonight's report from Farm TV.
The Alberta Wheat Commission came into existence in August of 2012.
Alberta Wheat Commission is a brand new organization representing Alberta's 11,000 wheat producers. It's funded, driven, and governed by producers. Its primary purpose is to help improve farmer profitability when they grow wheat on their farms.
What are the priorities of the Commission?
It's to invest in innovative research, could be in the areas of plant breeding and or agronomy work. We also intend to invest in market development activities that will help either create new markets for wheat from Alberta or end-use functionality that will bring new uses. I think we're here to really act as a single voice for Alberta's wheat producers and to encourage investment in wheat and really try to advance the wheat industry for the province.
Farm TV is brought to you by DA Building Systems.
The Canadian dollar took a small midweek hit today. Here's a look at the rest of the day's market numbers.